So we lost an option. I think it's because we have 3 speechcraft. Unless there's only 3 options. So prevent no man from helping, observe, or independent. Well, we said 1 observation. So observation it is. Do you carefully watch the other pairs busy with their cannons? O'Bannon is too preoccupied with his headache to help. You mimic 2 skilled soldiers, and all in all, you manage to shoot decently. Smith is not satisfied at all, and he sharply explains the next task. It's time to try hand-to-hand combat. Naturally, you're paired with O'Bannon. You look at your partner, assessing his state. He's still a bit dazed, but he's standing and seems a little more aware. So you get set to carry out the task. So, agility, fighting, or medicine. See, we don't have options to the other 2, and so medicine. Because this is my 3rd ability. O'Bannon hesitates for a few moments, then starts to hit you. You exchange some blows, then you manage to land a punch between his neck and shoulder. You have planned it well. O'Bannon falls to the ground unconscious. Victory is yours. Smith stares at you for a couple of seconds. Then he mumbles something, but he seems pleased. He orders you to get started in the next task. Once again, you practice hand-to-hand combat. But this time, your opponent is Vespucci. You look at him and he smiles. You both know he's stronger than you. So, are we quick? No. Careful, maybe. Counterattack? No. We're gonna analyze. You decide the best strategy is to observe Vespucci's technique. You take your time, you dodge and block his blows. You're getting tired and you feel pain where you've been hit. But your strategy pays off. You realize Vespucci's guard is full of openings. You hit him with a well-calibrated jaw to the chin, knocking him down. As your comrade brushes the dust off his trousers, you hold out your hand with a smile. Ryan smiles back, takes your hand, and he gets up, congratulating you on the good fight. Smith continues relentlessly shouting orders. You pick up all the equipment, the backpack, and the training rifle. It seems that the captain wants to be full of adrenaline for the combat simulation, so you don't hold anything back. He forces you to run right through the jungle to reach your next destination. Do you glance at O'Bannon to notice his arms bleeding? Do we ignore him? Do we aid him? I'm gonna aid him. Wait, Ed, what happened there? You point at the trace of blood on his hand. O'Bannon shrugs to minimize his injury. Then you answer the smirk, gesturing at him to come towards you. So apologize? Hurry. So wash the wound, bandage it. Patch him as best you can. You can look at his injury later with greater care. Or apologize. I had to stop during our fight. Nope, we're gonna medicate. Sure, it may take time, but whatever. Come here, Ed. Slow as you are, we'll be lost anyway. O'Bannon mumbles and smirks, but he gives you his arm. You lift his sleeve and check the wound. It's not too bad, but it may get affected here in the dirt. You clean up with your canteen water and wrap it up with a hanky. When the training is over, you will take another look at it. You and O'Bannon are the last to reach Captain Smith's prearranged spot, both panting and red-faced. You are welcomed by bronze insults, which Smith spits at both of you with equal parts saliva and venom. The squadron moves on together, without you, O'Bannon, and Vespucci. You fell behind to deal with your friend's wound, and the half Italian go on to assist you. He is always ready to help. Ed is immediately taken to the headquarters to order for his wound to be sutured. Do you wonder whether you should follow him, to perform the task yourself, or leave him in the hands of another doctor to go on with the training? Well, I feel like we should stay with him, do it ourselves. We don't want nothing bad happen to our comrades. I don't want O'Bannon or Vespucci to die, essentially. And if he gets infected and dies early, that would suck. So we're going to do it ourselves. You follow a band to the shacks that are the troops' headquarters are made up of. You navigate the movements of the men who carried your friend, and you move closer to suture the wound. Stay at headquarters, or training's not over yet. Training's not over yet. Let's get back to work. Now is the last part of the training, teamwork. You already did teamwork. Oh well. The troop stops near an abandoned fortress. The two groups are ordered to get in formation. One will attack the walls. The other will handle the artillery, either bombarding the weak walls of the fort or providing cover for the frontline soldiers. So, are we an attacker or an artillery? We're clearly not an attacker. We didn't do fighting or agility, so your main combat skills. So we'll be artillery. The orders are clear. You have to take the fort as quickly as possible while trying to limit the enemy's counterattack. You decide which strategy to use. So, hit the same point over and over again with cannons, or to breach the walls, or hit beyond the walls to offer cover for the men who are advancing. Well, I know a little bit about, history of assaulting fortresses and stuff. Like, during the Civil War, for example. And there's high losses for assaulting forts. So, I think a better strategy instead of attacking is to protect the men that are attacking by offering cover fire. Just seems to make more sense. You have a lot less men dead. So, protect. These are intense moments filled with shouts, blasts, and dust. The simulated battle seems quite real. The day is now coming to an end. The mock attack on the fort has been carried out. The men are all exhausted, yourself included. I'm proud of you all. Today you made a real effort. Tomorrow we could even go on the attack. But for now it's time to rest and refresh ourselves. The day's light has almost disappeared below the horizon when your captain brings the soldiers back together. He has an important message for all the men. He has not yet started to attack. Talk, attack. I mean, what's the difference with him? Talking is a form of attack. Maybe he went for speechcraft. He is waiting for everyone to sit down, but he could feel some serious tension filling the air. The pro-British Sultan, Ahmad bin Thuwaini, ruler of Zanzibar, died on the day you arrive on this island, and Khalid, an illegitimate ruler, has since taken his place. An ultimatum has been sent to Khalid, requesting that he abdicate peacefully. The ultimatum will expire tomorrow morning. And that's the end of this chapter. I can go a little longer. Let's continue. One more chapter. Your squadron lined up the courtyard of the headquarters. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. This time everyone is wide awake. You're ready to start for the Sultan's palace. Looking around, you can see the anxiety to face their fellow soldiers. Also, quick tip. This battle, and I didn't have to wait for the game to tell me, it's the shortest war in history. Lasting, I believe, 45 minutes? I think the game tells us. But something like that. Yeah, British weren't losing. The time given for the ultimatum is almost up. The British force is composed of some ships and around 1,000 men. But the Sultan's army should not be underestimated. Between his most loyal men and the soldiers subdued to his will, the prince has gathered a little army, enough to fight against the enemy squad. The reason for Smith's urgency in training the men, with all those hours crawling in the mud and climbing palm trees, is now clear. He was figuring out how prepared his soldiers were, rather than just training the new recruits. Khalid's granted time is almost run out, and the Rear Admiral Harry Lawson, who was on board the St. George, notifies the men to stand by for the attack. You don't know him well, but you have heard he is intolerant of anyone who fights under any banner but his. It's General Lloyd Matthews who begins the attack, ordering his men to open fire on the Prince's palace. Well known for his extraordinary willpower and determination, Matthews has just one goal in this fight: unseat the usurper as quickly as possible. Even Smith seems intimidated by the figure of Zanzibar's Prime Minister, General Matthews, and nervously commands his troops to move forward to the palace. He wants a reconnaissance group to avoid ambushes and look for the best point to strike. So reconnaissance, assault, or wait. Okay, I went reconnaissance, and it makes sense for us. So we're going to do reconnaissance. Sir, I'd like to volunteer to go on a recon mission to the dock. Smith appreciates your initiative. After looking you straight in the eye for a few moments, he decides to put you in command of the operation, chooses a group of men who are going to follow you and take your orders. You lead your group, running close to the palace walls, sliding like thin shadows in the daylight. You place yourselves near the shore, hiding behind the dunes, where your backs barely sink into the sand, and your watchful eyes can view the entire dock. All around you, sound of cannons echo from the allied ships, which are wiping out the opponents. So, do you observe, or do you command? We have 3 speechcraft, only 2 observation, because this is a check. Observation check or speechcraft check? Well, we're going to do speechcraft check. Because of course we are. And success! It's time to show Smith what we are made of. You arrange the little reconnaissance group, while you order the other soldiers to provide all the cover fire they can. The men are excited. They trust your gut and follow your orders promptly, eager to face danger. You keep an eye on your explorers, ready to immediately intervene if needed, but everything goes smoothly, and you smile as they return. They tell you the enemy artillery is disabled. The whole situation seems to favor the British Army, so you decide to retreat to the palace gardens. This way you can support your allies in the battle, which is almost at its climax. While you move forward, you meet your allies on the way back. They are euphoric, and when they see you, they flail their arms around with joy. The war for the Sultan's palace has turned out to be a surprisingly short-lived affair. After only 45 minutes of steady cannon fire, the British army forced the Sultan and his men to surrender. See, and that's what I mean. Shortest war in history, 45 minutes. Yeah, I don't think Zanzibar versus the British Empire basically at its peak. Yeah, I don't think Zanzibar had a chance. Despite the brevity of the battle, you are happy with yourself and how you managed to contribute to the victory. At the end of the fight, while he addresses the troops, Smith unexpectedly addresses you in front of the other men. Huntington, you did well in battle. I didn't know you were a leader. Okay. Yeah, I guess I gotta do a little more. You head towards the headquarters with your troop. Walk away from where the fight took place and turn to look at the Sultan's palace, which is still surrounded by smoke from the battle. The ruins collapse in upon themselves, causing clouds of sand and dirt. While you see British ships in the distance, peacefully sailing away in the background. You fell behind, the rest of your troop are distant from you. You speed up to reach them, when an elegantly dressed man approaches in the street. The stranger takes his hat off, to greet and speaks with a German accent. And just so you guys know, I am not at this party. Like, this is all new to me from now on. So you don't have to worry about me knowing further ahead. Mr. Huntington, could I trouble you for a moment of your time? You are confused. You've never seen this man as far as you recall. You stop on the street staring at him without uttering a single word, while the crowd seems to distance itself from you, as if they're trying away the embarrassment of an uncertain situation. Finally, your mind manages to find a concrete answer when a mysterious interlocutor, I don't know what that means, waits with great patience, with his hat held to his chest. Greatly, or surly, you're sure you've never seen him? No time to lose. Or investigate his identity. Well, we're speechcraft. We talk to people. So we'll talk like this. Pardon me, but do we know each other? Forgive my rudeness. My name is Mayor. Nice to meet you in person, finally. He keeps smiling at you, barely bending his head, in a sign of respect, as if he's waiting for your next query, which doesn't take long to reach your lips. The pleasure is mine, Mr. Mayor. May I ask how you know my name? You see, Mr. Huntington, I am here on behalf of a group of people who deal with public health. The gentleman group I belong to are very interested in what happens around them and in the whole world. Of course, we know you by reputation. What reputation? You're just one of many doctors in London. You're not even sure whether your neighbors would recognize you. Mayor's German accented speech stops flow of your thoughts. I'd hope to talk to you if you had time, of course. Great from this man slightly worried about how much he needs to know about you. Accept his invitation, intrigued by his words amidst his group of people. I mean, I'm not just gonna leave. I'm curious. So let's look at some of this stuff real quick. So yeah, we could upgrade those two. But we're not gonna do that. Let's see. Just characters, okay. Just making sure. Yeah, I'm curious. I need to know about you. You sit down at a bar along the street. The man orders 2 coffees while he watches you with a strange but friendly smile, unable to inspire trust. He raises his cup just a little, sipping his coffee, studying your every movement, making you uncomfortable. Please, don't be so nervous. You make me feel like an executioner ready to cut your head. The man smiles, then he lowers his cup in front of him, leaning his elbow on the table. His hands meet in a tangle of fingers near his chin. He never stops staring at you, even for a single moment. We know you're not a soldier. Your medical research is cutting edge. I and the gentleman I represent have gathered a lot of information about you, and would be interested in working together. Think of us as modern patrons. He laughs as if he found his metaphor enjoyable, or perhaps he's simply amused by the astonished paleness of your face. You don't need to answer yet, Mr. Huntington. Think about it. You know that every disease has consequences. Some of them even go beyond the deplorable loss of human lives. We are studying a dreadful disease which could soon turn to a pandemic. For this reason, we are looking for people who could truly make a difference in dealing with such diseases. People like you. You should not quit. Even though I can understand how you feel after your terrible tragedy. Tragedy? Is he really talking about Helen? Has he really done his research on you? That wasn't a joke. You can't help wonder how much he knows. How he knows so much just about Helen. Go away, you. Don't like where it's going. Listen. You'll never know how much you feel about losing Helen. I feel like I'm not just gonna go away, but this feels like an overly emotional answer. And listening, I don't want to reply like this. Too emotional of an answer, based on the description. It's gonna be like angry or something stupid, and I hate that. So we'll just listen. The man looks at you right in the eye, holding your stare with a little uncertainty. Stop playing a soldier, Jake. It doesn't fit you and you're wasting your time while this world needs your brilliant mind. Think about it, Mr. Huntington. We are willing to offer you everything you need to help you change the destiny of the whole world. Man waves goodbye to you, granting you the chance to replay, vanishing in the crowd like a ghost. Its meaning has left you pensive and distraught. It seems Mayor wants your collaboration, offering you his help, yet there's something about him you are not convinced of. Too many secrets and oddities. You enlisted to forget Helen and the illness which took her away. Your efforts have been useless. Your wife would have never wanted you to quit your job, yet not being able to save her destroyed your self-confidence and left you consumed by doubt and guilt. Now it seems the past is trying to reach out to you in some way. Ironically, saying that he's got destroyed his self-confidence and he's consumed by guilt, then the fact that I'm picking the route where I want to care a lot about my comrades makes sense. It's like this is a way of trying to, he couldn't save her, so he wants to make sure other people that he may become friends with, or even just acquaintances with, can be saved themselves. Does that make sense? Then you remember the message. You'd like to ask Mayor whether he sent that warning. You regret not having thought of it before. It's too late now. The man has already disappeared. Okay, just saved. Alright, that encounter is where I'm going to end it. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next episode.